Here's what really surprised me the most. It really wasn't the weight loss, although we'll get into that in a little bit. It was really the silence. And that'll make sense as we get into this video. But the food noise, the cravings, the constant chatter in my head about food went away. And this part blew my mind for several reasons. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. I'm Fallon. I'm a dual board certified nurse practitioner in both primary care and psychiatric, so mental health as well. I am 10 years post bariatric surgery. I had a VSG or vertical sleeve gastrectomy about 10 years ago. I am perimenopausal and I'm experiencing weight regain. I lost about 80 pounds from my surgery and gained almost all of that back. And last week, I started Mounjaro. This channel is me documenting that honestly from a clinician standpoint and as a patient. So let's get into it. Talk about injection day, and you'll see me looking down at my notes because I want to make sure that I remember all the things, okay? But I chose Wednesdays as my injection day. This is for me because it's a day off for me. It's like an administrative day in my practice for me, and so it's not busy, it's not as chaotic. The kids don't have anything to do after school, all those things. And so I felt like this was a day that I really had time to do the injection, understand how my body was responding to it, pick up on any subtle changes, any subtle side effects or anything like that. Because sometimes when you get really busy, you may not notice what the side effects are because you're busy lifing, okay? So as a provider, I also recommend anyone starting a GLP-1 medication, if you're thinking about starting, think about that. Or if you've already gotten the medication and are waiting to do the injection, think about picking a day that is not a hectic day for you. Maybe that's a weekend or something like that, that you can be in tune with your body a little bit more and not be distracted. So you can know how you're feeling, especially for the first couple of days post-injection, okay? I picked up my script from my provider. I am going through my provider to get my medication. Not everyone has insurance that will cover it. Some people pay out of pocket. Some people use online programs, which there's some good programs out there. We'll be talking about those in the future. I want to do a little bit more research on those so I can give you guys the best possible reviews that I could possibly can when it comes to what is available and what resources are there. But I personally picked mine up from the pharmacy. I picked up 2 months worth of medication because the plan that we have is that I'm going to do 2.5, which is the starting dose. That is what I'm currently taking. 2.5 milligrams for 4 weeks. For every week for 4 weeks, and then we're gonna up the dose to 5 milligrams for 4 weeks. And so that is the plan that my provider and I felt like was a good plan. We wanted to start low and slow and make sure that we kind of caught any issues that may arise. Now I want you to remember, okay, that I am a post VSG patient. Okay, so when I'm taking Mounjaro, it's decreasing my appetite, but also it means that my restriction gets tighter with my sleeve than it was like post-surgery. So I'm kind of getting restriction back as well as limited appetite. So my outcomes may be a little bit different than someone who hasn't had bariatric surgery before or that kind of thing. So keep that in mind. But those of you who have had bariatric surgery and are struggling with regain, you'll be able to see what this can do for you as well. Maybe, okay? Everyone's individual. But I want you to remember that when I'm talking about this, as well as dosing, because low and slow for me is going to be better, right? Because I'm getting that restriction back. Whereas your provider may feel you're not losing weight at 2.5, let's up it to 5, let's start at 5 or something like that. Or you're if you're also taking it to regulate diabetes, if your diabetes numbers are very elevated, you know, your A1C is greater than 9 or something like that, there may be a situation where they want to start a little higher. Okay, so just put in mind that we are all individuals and we're all different. Okay, so I got home from the pharmacy with my injection, with my pen, and I've been doing injections for years, right? As a nurse, but I studied exactly how to do this injection. And it didn't hurt at all. I didn't have any bleeding. I didn't have any pain. I did feel like some little electrical twinges, like boom, boom. A couple of minutes after, it felt like something was happening. But then after that, I didn't feel anything. And so it hasn't bothered me. The site didn't have irritation. It wasn't itching, anything like that. So that was really good. Now, there was a moment when it hit me as I was giving myself the injection, like, you are now the patient. Okay? So you have to pay attention to what's going on with your body. Like, this is real, like you're about to start this journey. And so that took some mental change, because I can't look at myself as the provider. Like, I am the patient that has to pay attention to what's happening in my body and really commit to this journey, and taking care of myself in the best way possible while I'm on it. Now, if you want me to do a video about how to do the injection, how to do it correctly, any pointers, anything like that, you want to see that, just put it down in the comments below. I'll be glad to show you how to do the injection, or at least how to prep for the injection. Now let's talk side effects, because that's what everybody wants to know. So we're going to hit on these. I want you to remember again that I am post-VSG. I have insulin resistance. I had a lot of inflammation as well. So there's going to be some difference here, and my results may look a little different than other people's, and that's okay. All of our journeys are going to look a little bit different. We're all individuals, okay? So don't compare yourself or think that your journey is going to look just like mine or anybody else that you see on the internet, okay? Now, let's talk about appetite. So by day 2, I was not constantly hungry. This was a shocker to me. I was not craving anything. I was not raging the refrigerator, just standing there looking. I was not thinking about the next thing I'm going to order or eat. And so my brain was so much quieter, and it actually was a big change for me in a lot of ways, even emotionally. But we're going to touch on that later, because I have a lot to say about that. Okay, with the nausea, did I have any nausea? I didn't experience any nausea. I think maybe day 2, I was like getting ready to prepare my food and kind of got like a little queasy, but it went away. I ate my meal fine. I didn't have any issues. With VSG, I did have a lot of nausea. I also had some episodes of vomiting when I first had VSG. So it was not as extreme. And honestly, I expected to have some nausea, so not having it was a great, that was welcome. That was a great benefit for me, because it wasn't great after VSG. And I think this also has to do with the low and slow dosing method. Like, it's going to prevent a lot of those side effects when we go low and slow, because it gives your chance, it primes the body, just like if you were priming something, or priming a straw, or priming a needle, right? It primes the body to know what it's about to happen and what is entering your body in this new way of how your body is going to react to this medication. So the best way to do that is low and slow, right? And so I think that has a lot to do with why I haven't had any nausea or anything like that. As for feeling full, now, for me, again, post-VSG, it definitely brought back my restriction. I definitely get full really easily. I have to break my eating up into like 5 small meals a day. I can't sit and eat a plate of food. And like, we're going to look at some of my meals that I put together at the end of the video, and you'll see like my portions are a lot smaller than most people, but I eat multiple snacks and multiple meals during the day to make sure I get my protein in, okay? But it's just going to look different for me because I'm a bariatric patient. Okay. And even before starting Mounjaro, like even though my sleeve had stretched out, I could only sit and eat a certain amount of food at a time before I could go to something else and eat something different. Okay. Digestion. I haven't had any issues. I haven't had any heartburn um, or constipation or anything like that. Now, I've been very mindful of hydrating and making sure I get my fiber. And I think that is number one. I'm actually on a prebiotic, probiotic fiber supplement that I take every day. And I am very religious about that because I don't want to encounter any issues with constipation or gut issues or heartburn or anything like that. I'm gonna do a whole separate video on probiotics, prebiotics, and fiber supplements. So we can talk about the importance of those and maybe give you some recommendations, that may help you. Energy. I noticed more energy, a lot more energy by day 4 or so. I noticed my energy was a lot more. Um, I had a lot more energy. I could go the whole day. I didn't need a nap in the middle of the day, which let me tell you has been a struggle the last 6 months to a year of my life. Like I was craving for looking for anywhere I could fall asleep. Sometimes just falling asleep at my desk because I was that exhausted and that tired. And so, yes, definitely have more energy, not taking naps in the middle of the day. And this is by day 4, and I thought that was really good. Part of me thought, well, maybe it's just psychosomatic. Like, I know I'm taking this new medication. Am I just excited? But no, it has consistently continued throughout the week of like not needing that nap in the middle of the day. Sleep has been better. I am not having heartburn at night. Um, which is probably also not having a whole bunch of late night snacks at night too. Okay. So that's probably a part of that. Now, here's the part about Mounjaro, GLP-1s that I feel people don't talk about enough, or I think we're just learning to have the vocabulary for it. But as a mental health provider, this blew my mind. And in treating people in the past with like eating disorders or body dysmorphia, all those things, I have seen how exhausting food noise can be for people. I don't think we had the, excuse me, something's mine. I don't think we had the verbiage for it, but it is definitely a thing. It is the constant thinking about what should I eat? Did I eat too much? What do I want next? Do I feel hungry? Am I hungry? Oh, I'm starving. Oh, what's in the fridge? Let me go stand and look. Let me keep checking the fridge over and over and over again. Like, what do I want to eat? I deserve a treat. I deserve a treat for myself. I deserve a snack. I've been stressed. It's been a hard day. Like all of that noise, but around food. The chatter was completely gone for me. And this told me something really important about it. As a mental health professional and as a healthcare provider, I always knew, at least more recently and since I've been in practice, that obesity was a disease. We've known that since like 2013, right? That it is classified as a disease, and there are classifications for how severe your disease is. But understanding or feeling my own journey and feeling myself that noise turn off, struggling with obesity my entire life, I realized it is not willpower. It is literal brain chemistry. And this was a huge moment for me experiencing this. It kind of put the two together like, oh, the science says this is a disease. Yes, it is a disease. And yes, there's help for it. It is definitely a brain chemistry issue. Like this medication is basically helping to chill out our reward system in our brain. And that is huge. That's huge. And so let's talk about what the reward system in the brain is. Like, let's break that down. It sounds like this big scientific, flow chart and that kind of thing. But in real life, it's basically like the gold sticker machine in your brain. It's like your brain's gold sticker machine. So you do something well in school, what? You get a gold sticker. Your kids do something great or finish their chores, they get a gold sticker. That's exactly what the brain reward system is. So it's like an inner toddler going again, 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 again. That was fun, again, again. That's basically what it's like. Because your brain has one job, and that is to keep you alive. That's basically your brain's job, is to keep you alive. So it is going to reward things that help you survive. That is rest, sex, connection, safety, comfort, and food, eating to sustain your body. So every time you do one of these things, your brain releases dopamine and it says, hey, that worked, that felt good, let's do that again. So it's basically a learning signal. It is not real happiness. It is not real joy. It's just reinforcement to your brain that they like this thing. So it's like your brain quietly saying, approved, repeat behavior, please. Approved, repeat behavior, please. And it's basically conditioning your brain. So the thing about it is that what nobody tells us is that this system is built for like hunting, gathering berries, not dying, staying warm and storing up for the winter. Like, that is what it's for. It is not designed for DoorDash and Costco snacks, giant bags of snacks, and chronic stress and 24/7 access to chocolate covered anything. That is not what it was designed for, but that is the times that we live in, right? The conveniences that we have. So now your ancient like cave person brain is walking through Target and they're like, oh my God, we found sugar in a bag. Let's get it. It's a miracle. Let's eat all of it. It's going to keep us alive. In reality, it's just Oreos. Okay. But your brain doesn't know the difference because it thinks famine is always around the corner because that is our biology. Okay. So it over rewards calorie dense food. So it's going to over reward the cupcakes and over reward the Cheetos and all of those things to that you feel you need it. And your brain wants you to have it all the time. And so it is a constant battle of your mind. And when you're stressed, when you're tired, when you're sad or grieving, when you're hormonal, just like with PMS, when you feel overwhelmed, when you're perimenopausal, because that is like a cortisol circuit going on in your body. Like, all of those things will drive your brain to tell you we need to soothe this issue. So what this proves for me and, my nerdy mental health brain, like, food isn't just fuel for our body, but then it becomes comfort to us. It becomes distraction. It becomes a soothing dopamine fix. It becomes 5 minutes alone to yourself, right? How many of us find ourselves in our car eating when our kids are around and everything's quiet and we're enjoying that burger or fries, right? And it gives us that sense of satisfaction, even if short-lived, it's just enough to reinforce that message that we're sending our brain. So it's not just hunger now, it's emotion plus habits plus biology plus hormones plus stress, all riding that same reward pathway, which means you're not weak. Your brain is literally being trained on how to reward itself. Now, the wild part is that these medications don't just shrink your appetite, but they seem to quiet that reward signal. I felt it wasn't like the medication is telling me, like, don't eat that, don't eat that, don't eat that, or me, my own willpower trying to tell me, don't eat that, don't eat that. It was like, you're good. Like, you ate already. You're full. You're satisfied. And let me tell you something. Being overweight my entire life, I didn't know what satiety was. I didn't know what being satisfied with my meal was. I didn't know what full felt like. I would often eat way past the point of fullness because I was trying to feed that dopamine in my brain. I was literally trying to feel good with my food. And it was very difficult for me to stop and really take notice of my body and notice that if I was full or not. And I have noticed what that feels like. And that's been a huge game changer for me. I've lived with food noise all of my life. And so it finally feels like somebody took like the TV remote and like muted it. And I could function. I wasn't white knuckling through the day. I wasn't fighting food cravings all day. Like, no, you shouldn't order that. No, you don't need that. No, it's too sweet. No, it's going to make you feel bad because the minute you eat the sugar, it's going to make you feel bad while you're sleeping. Your heart's going to race. You're going to have bad dreams. Like it would manifest like that for me often. Like you're not going to be able to sleep well. You're going to have heartburn. You're going to feel jittery. You're going to feel bad. And I would still do it. I just now felt neutral and I feel neutral and it feels so free to feel neutral. And I can't explain that unless you understand what I'm saying or you've experienced it. It was something that I really didn't even know. I knew I struggled with my whole life after it went away. I did not know that before. I didn't know how much control it had over me. How much it caused increased anxiety for me. The thought of like I'm the person in the house that like does most of the cooking in my house and I do most of the grocery shopping in my house just because I like those things. And so I didn't realize the stress, the added anxiety and stress that came along with it. And it would manifest and show up in how I responded to my kids and my short fuse at the end of the day of like dealing with people all day because I talk and deal with people all day. You know, that is the nature of my job. And then having to deal with little people at the end of the day and just feeling like there's so much noise. I always felt like everything was too noisy. Everything was too loud. I wanted everything to be quiet. I would often finish my work and even enjoy my meals when everyone went to bed. I would eat the most then and I would get all my work done and I would feel, productive because it was quiet. And now I realize that the reason that I felt that way was because it was so much extra noise on top of the food noise, which is why I couldn't handle it. And now the food noise is gone and I can finish my charts the moment I'm doing them. I can go and hang out with my kids and not be like graded on. My nervous system was more regulated. It has been more regulated. So this has like been huge. And this just fascinates me because it is definitely like a brain chemistry thing. And now, sometimes you'll hear people say, well, why don't you do it the natural way? Why can't you just push back from the table or put the fork down? But like I'm saying to myself, if effort alone, if willpower alone could fix dopamine pathways for people, I would have cured half of my patient panel by now. I would have cured half of the patients that have drug issues or substance abuse issues. I would have cured my patients that have issues with mood. You know what I mean? Like if we could really fix those pathways, I would be rich because I would be able to cure things, right? But sometimes we need therapy, skills, sleep, a good diet. We need to put in boundaries. And sometimes we need medication to help and to help us fine tune those signals. This is just like we need it for depression. Some people need it for anxiety, just like we need it for blood pressure or diabetes. And learning how to regulate those things sometimes take medication to do that. So I want to say right here that if you're thinking about this, if you've been discussing this with someone and they may make you feel guilty or like you should be able to do it on your own or you feel condemned by doing it. understand, from me to you, you are not picking the easy way out. You still have to learn new habits and learn how to eat and learn how to take care of your body. But some of us need that medication to help flip those switches and turn those signals for us. And it's just like if you had diabetes or a blood pressure issue or a heart issue, you would need medication to help you. Okay? Now, the brain and the body are not separate departments, and so it's one system, and sometimes we need help with that system. No shame with it. This is just science. Okay, so lean on that and understand that that's all it is. All right, now we're going to talk about how I felt, like the emotional kind of side of what I've been feeling. And I think the biggest thing in emotional side that I didn't expect was the realizing how much anxiety that the food noise brought into my life. It made me very overstimulated, very angry, lacking a lot of patience at the end of the day, not being present in the moment with my family, my kids, my spouse, worrying constantly about food, about what I was going to eat, about how, really honestly, worrying about how I was going to pacify myself later. I've had a really stressful day. Everybody's getting on my nerves. What am I going to do to make this better? Oh, I know. I'm going to order me some French fries and a burger and a donut. And I'm going to order all these things to come to my house. And I'm going to sit and eat them in quiet while I work. And it was an anxiety that came with it. And I remember my partner saying, you know what? You are so calm. And I thought you were a calm person before, but you are really, really calm. And the temperature is way down because you're not on edge and you're not talking to us like you're on edge. You're talking to us, in a calm manner. And that was really a light bulb moment for me and life changing. And I'm just waiting to see how that gets better for me, because that in itself has just been life changing. Okay, let's step into the clinical corner for a second. This is where we talk about the science behind everything. Now remember, I'm a medical provider, but I am not your medical provider. So please talk to your personal provider about your health and your medical needs. So let's get into it. So I want to talk about what are GLP-1s and what are GIPs. So GLP-1 and GLP basics. These are basic hormones that talk to your brain after you eat. We make these hormones in our body already. Okay? But it's like a hormone group chat. They're like, food has arrived, let's handle it. That's kind of how it goes. The GLP-1 factor tells your brain that you need to slow down, that you're full. This is like your portion control hunger manager. Okay? That's what this is. The GIP tells your body to store energy, and it helps you stabilize your blood sugar. So think of it like the accountant in the partnership. Okay? It's like, okay, we have these calories, but we do not have to store them like we won't eat for months. Okay? We can use them. This is what helps you better regulate insulin resistance, metabolic disease, and helps you to use insulin better, basically making us more sensitive to our insulin. Now, this is why Mounjaro is such a good choice for me. For me, I said, because it helps with the hormone changes with perimenopause. It helps increase my insulin sensitivity. Remember, I'm insulin resistant. I was going over into the diabetic range. I had stepped over into diabetes, early stage diabetes, and it helps to control my eating and my appetite. So these things, that is why Mounjaro works for me. Okay. All right. So now I want to talk about numbers, results. What has my first week been like? We talked about what I felt when I first did my injection. We've talked about how it works for me. We've talked about my dosing, side effects, all of those things. Let's talk about some results. Again, everyone's different. My results are going to be different and look different than someone else's, okay? For my weight change, I started at 260 pounds. I am now 255 pounds. 255.8, I'm sorry. So I have lost 4.2 pounds in this week. Mind blown. Yes. But remember, insulin resistance, I am post VSG, so I got my restriction back, and I had a lot of inflammation. So I believe a lot of that is that inflammation going away and some water weight, of course. So I believe all that. So we'll see what week 2 brings. As for inches, I don't do any measurements for inches. I know people do that, and I probably should, but I just don't do it. And maybe I will start to do it. I'm not sure. I'm not going to promise that to you because that's just tedious for me, and I don't want to do all that. But I will say that some clothes are fitting a little different. Some better, not like, oh, I can fit into things I didn't fit in. It's only 4 pounds. And I only count it as 4. I don't count it as 4.2. It's just 4 pounds, okay? But some things fit a little bit better. I feel like they look a little better. I'm not pulling at my shirts as much as I used to. So that kind of thing. And I think that has to do with like just inflammation. Remember, I'm also doing some exercise too. Mood has been so much better. We talked about that as far as not feeling overstimulated as much, not being as angry or as impatient or as irritable. So that has been not as anxious. That's been really been life-changing so far. And I hope that just gets better and continues. Energy has been better. I am also making sure to exercise. I am doing weight training 5 to 7 days a week. When I say weight training, I do not mean I'm going to anybody's gym, honey. Okay? I'm doing this in my room, in my bedroom, sometimes in my office, at night, before bed. I'm using like a kettlebell, a couple of free weights, and I'm doing like some arm workout, a little bit of squats, some kettlebell workout, and probably maybe 20 or 30 minutes. Sometimes it's just 15 minutes, but I try to get something in every night so that I have a habit. I'm building a habit. And as I get smaller and more stronger, I will increase my workout and increase my weight and that kind of thing. But right now, I'm just being consistent with it. And I have seen a change with being consistent with my energy. Cravings, we talked about that. They're gone. I am not craving anything that I used to crave. If anything, I do eat like honey roasted peanuts. So every now and then I'll have like a fourth of a cup of honey roasted peanuts when I want like a crunchy snack or something. But I'm not craving it. If I feel like I'm kind of getting hungry or I'm getting a little bit of a headache and dinner's not ready or something like that, I'll have like a fourth of a cup of peanuts or something. And I measure those out. Listen, I don't weigh food or anything like that, but I will measure out what I snack on because I don't want to be like snacking and not realizing like, wait a minute, especially when it gets closer to the time to do the next injection. Because, it lasts in your system for about 5-6 days. And so as that goes away, I don't want to get to a point right now. I haven't felt that like where my appetite's coming back and I'm so hungry, but eventually there may be a point where like the medicine's not out of my system. I'm about to do the next injection and I feel like I need a little snack or I'm a little hungrier. I want to make sure that I'm measuring that out. And I'm not eating late at night. I'm actually going to bed and I'm not having these late night snacks. So that is definitely a win for me. Now, what am I eating? Because that's huge. It's really helpful for me when I watch someone and they're telling me about their meals. Okay, so we're going to talk about just one day of me eating that I had that I kind of want to show you kind of what I'm eating for my meals. I want to show you this because for me, it's been really helpful to get ideas from other people and be better prepared for the week, especially having busy weeks and needing to grab something quick. As a mom and a business owner, I am busy. And so finding simple, quick meals are vital for me to stay on my goals and to stay with my goals. So I want to make sure that I eat meals and spend my time using those calories to get my protein goals and my fiber goals in. And for me, my daily fiber goal is 100 milligrams a day. And my day, not, I switched that, sorry. My fiber goal is 25 milligrams a day. My protein goal is 100 milligrams a day. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about meals, and I'm going to pop up some meals on the screen here so you can see them. So here you're going to see some breakfast, and I basically had 2 eggs, an omelet, some bell pepper. I used red and yellow bell pepper, a little bit of onion, and some cheese, mozzarella cheese, I believe it was. And so you can see that this is what I had. It's about around 540 calories. This breakfast was about 57 grams of protein and about 10 carbs. And I had about 2 grams of fiber here. And this is what I had. And I had 1 slice of thick sliced bacon. And I was able to eat most of that omelet, but did not finish it. And I ate most of the bacon and had a little bit left. And I also had a protein coffee this morning. So I had a Premier Protein shake with a little bit of coffee, maybe about 4 ounces of coffee in it. And that was my drink, my beverage for that. Now for lunch here, you can see that I had like 1/4 of an apple, a medium apple, a tablespoon of peanut butter. I had about 6 saltines, some homemade chicken salad that I had made. So I had like a 1/2 cup of that, and then a couple of carrot sticks. About 470 calories, 3 grams of fiber, about 24 grams of protein. So these are the kind of things that I'm like throwing together to make sure that I'm eating well, eating balanced, and getting it in. Okay. And then for dinner that day, I had some 1/4 of a cup of like roasted sweet potato, 1/4 of a cup of ground teriyaki chicken. So I ground some chicken up, seasoned it with bell pepper, onion, and then put a little bit of teriyaki sauce in it. And then some cottage cheese, which let me tell you, cottage cheese is like a beast. Like if you want to add some protein to your life, just add a scoop of cottage cheese. If you're having yogurt, switch it out for like half yogurt, half cottage cheese. And we'll talk about that, like some more recipes and stuff. And if you want me to give you some ideas, put it in the comments below, some of the other ideas. And I'll be taking more photos and pictures and maybe even video of some of these things that I'm doing so that you can see how quick and easy these are. Like I said, the ground chicken, the cottage cheese, and then the orange stuff you see there is just some chili oil, some chili crisp oil. And then I also have 2 strawberries. And so you can see I'm meeting my fiber goals and my protein goals, and I'm getting there. I'm pretty much getting there. Now, when I'm not having these meal times, I will have snacks. So I'll have some honey roasted peanuts. I will have one of my favorites right now is the soy sauce marinated boiled eggs, like soy sauce eggs. I am in love with them. And sometimes I grab those for breakfast. If I'm really busy and I'm quick and I gotta I'm got a snack or something like that, and I just need something I can grab that's already ready. I make a batch of those, like 6 eggs at a time, keep them in the fridge, and that's a good way to bring that out. I do some yogurt, cottage cheese, cheese sticks, nuts. Like I'm adding, I try to add flaxseed, chia seed to things that bump up that protein. Bone broth is another thing that you can do. I've done some quinoa if you're into that. Quinoa can be really good cooking in some bone broth. Have it as your base instead of rice to kind of take the carbs down on it if that's something that you want to do. So Portion sizes are really small for me, as you could see, but I'm really trying to hit those protein and fiber goals. Those are the most important thing. I have kind of a limit for carbs. I'm trying not to do 80 to 100 carbs a day, but listen, I'm really focused on the protein and the fiber. So moving forward, what do my goals look like for week 2? My protein goal is staying the same. I'm trying to hit that 100 grams a day. I've gotten up to about 97. What's the highest? So I'm trying to hit that 100 mark. My hydration goals are to at least drink 68 fluid ounces of water a day. So I think that's like what, half a liter or something like that. So I'm trying to get to that point. To get that in of liquids. And sometimes that could be straight water. Sometimes it's like water with a little flavoring in it, a little lemon juice, something. So I'm really trying to do that in different ways. Again, I'm strength training in my own home with my own weights, 5 to 7 days a week, 20 to 30 minutes, sometimes 15 to 30 minutes. Okay. So I'm not going crazy, but I'm getting that consistency in. And so I hope to continue doing that and build that up and just lift longer, bigger weight, that kind of thing. Sleep, my goal is about 7 to 8 hours a night. And going to bed in a reasonable hour. This is my goal because holding this new boundary that I have that I want to be done doing things by 11 o'clock at night. It does not mean I have to go to sleep, but I want to be in bed, like listening to an audiobook or watching a movie or watching a show, relaxing and not working until I used to work until sometimes 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and just jump right in bed and go to sleep. And sometimes I couldn't go to sleep. I was too stimulated. And then I have to get up at like 5:30 to get ready to get the kids ready for school because I do school drop off in the morning. So, and get them ready in the morning. And my partner picks them up in the afternoon. But so I want to be able to go to bed and get some really good rest. And so that time for me is 11 p.m. At least that's what I'm striving for. All right. So listen, if you're navigating midlife hormones, weight regain, or just feeling like your body isn't playing fair with you, you are not alone. If you're looking to start a GLP-1 journey, I am documenting my journey weekly. And subscribe here. Come walk this out with me. Let us be a support to one another. Drop your questions or your comments below. I read every comment. I may not always get to respond, but I do read them all, and I appreciate you all for being here. I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.